We all know women are people. Or do we? Hi, I'm Tony. Today, we'll be going over booba.tv and women monetizing on Twitch off their looks in general. We'll put a dehumanization of women spin on it too. So, for those of you who don't know, booba.tv is basically a website that links women who are live that are doing hot tub streams or streams made to be about attraction to them. Basically, the adult woman who uses their sexual freedom in the highest potential. Now, the video itself isn't really going to be focused on sexual freedom, but more on how people either take women doing this as them objectifying themselves, and how people now label anyone who watches women as simps. But we'll dig a little bit deeper into that later. For now, sit back and enjoy the video. I highly encourage literally anyone to comment so I can receive input and be open to new perspectives. Like, subscribe, and now onto the video. So in no way in this video am I going to be bashing women who monetize off their looks, or women who sexualize themselves on Twitch or dress up in general for the camera, even if it's not the main focus. Although I will bash the system that gives them opportunity to do so. They can do whatever the hell they want. Misogyny painted them as sexual objects, so it's a hella power move to use that to their advantage. As long as they're adults and doing the acts, it's okay. Children, not so much. Anyway, I just wanted to disclaimer that I am completely non-judgmental of anyone, not just women, draining people's pockets by being hot. I wouldn't necessarily encourage it. Any sort of work that's close to sex work or sex work in general is very dangerous, especially for young adults. You know, hate the industry, not the female workers. So, no shame at all to any adult who wants to do that. It's still a pretty smart option. Again, I'm only talking about women who intentionally make their looks the main focus, not just all women streamers, but we'll get to that subject in a bit. For now, let's bring up the fact people think sexualizing yourself equates to objectifying yourself, and how people think using your looks to your advantage equates to sexualizing yourself. But mostly the first thing. Okay, so, guess what? Being sexual for whoever you'd like to be sexual for, or showing skin for whoever you want, is not objectifying yourself. Wake up, guys, from doing a hot tub Minecraft stream to being extremely sexually deviant. This does not make a woman any less human at all. Women can do whatever they want with their bodies unless it hurts people. They're equally human. In fact, even more human. Our primary biological function is to reproduce. So, sluts, you guys are the most womanly women out there. People have been interchanging objectifying and sexualizing yourself too much, and I normally hate getting caught up in misuse of terms, but this matters. This is the very difference on whether we see women as humans or not. I mean, think about it. There's nothing inherent about sexual things or attraction that would make a woman any less of a person. Ironically, as much as men yell the patriarchy doesn't exist while shaming women who appear on booba.tv, the reason women are primarily able to do that is that same men's unwarranted hypersexualization of them, no matter if they're okay with it or not in modern society. And again, I'm only referring to women who are okay with being sexualized, and adult women who want to appear on that website when I say they can have as many people drool over them as they want. Sexualizing yourself as an adult is okay, but when other people do it without your consent, it's disgusting. Just a quick PSA. By the way, this isn't even my main point, but we're getting there, so hold on to your socks because it gets worse. The negative effects of associating consensual sexualization with objectifying are really drastic on women, and in this case, female streamers. So why are women being sexual or profiting off their attraction so hated by the same men who consume the content? Well, this goes into a whole history of slut-shaming, which is a lot to take in. So for now, we'll just see how sex is demonized. Ever since we're small, sex is always seen as a promiscuous thing, when really it's the most biologically normal thing for an adult human to do. Since it's something that women can do on their own will and enjoy it, obviously people made social restrictions for it and turned it into what it is now. Now, a woman being sexual is seen as objectifying herself, or not even being sexual, just being pretty in terms of beauty standards or wearing, I don't know, crop tops. Now, whenever we see women who we are conditioned to believe are objects if they do anything ever so slightly promiscuous, we look down on it. At the same time, a woman doing anything sexual is labeled as objectifying them. So, if you put two and two together, some men just cannot view women who use their looks to their advantage as anything other than objects. There was actually a study done recently about how men struggle to see women as people if those women act sexually in any manner. Quick neuro lesson, but the inferior temporal located in your visual cortex lights up when it recognizes a human with a conscious and decision-making skills. It basically distinguishes your brain from categorizing something as human or object. The study was conducted by measuring men's visual cortex activity and showed them pictures of women who were pretty covered up and modest. It lit up strongly, as it normally would. They then showed images of women dressed in less clothes and more sexual poses. This time, the signal that fired registering the men were looking at a human was much weaker and less adamant. That's honestly scary. It is dangerous for people lacking the ability to fully recognize another person as human with functioning thoughts just because they were sexualized, especially when every single part of a woman or her body is sexualized. Drawing it back to Twitch streamers, none of these women are really seen as people, no matter how much they are. The worst part is, the most annoying tragedy, is how we demonize any girl on Twitch. Not the ones who use their looks to their advantage, not the ones who do hot tub streams. People literally just cannot comprehend the fact that a woman's very existence isn't something sexual or just pretty to look at. I cannot tell you how many times I have opened a chat on a girl's stream who's just playing Minecraft and everyone is calling chat a simp. Everyone's calling chat down bad or virgins, when in reality, they are the virgins. They cannot understand that some people don't take gender into accountability when choosing what to watch and go for entertainment. Because of the fact that women can't just monetize off looks without being objectified by others, and cannot sexualize themselves without being objectified by others, unless that's the main goal, every single girl streamer has to suffer. Some just cannot put two and two together that maybe, just maybe, someone's not watching a girl for her looks. It becomes a problem because now sexualization is unwarranted and unwanted. And I'm mostly talking about this for minors or women who aren't okay with it. Now, this is in no way the girls on Booba.tv's fault at all. They can do whatever they want. It's the audience's fault. It sucks having your successes discredited because other people think people just watch you because you're pretty, when that's not your main focus at all. If I wanted to do that, I'd put much more effort into how I look, but I really don't want to do that. I put effort into these videos, these essays, the TikToks, because it's more fun for me, and I would prefer to be recognized by that, even though I know I'm not by many people. Now remember, some women wanting to monetize off their looks and other women not wanting to monetize off their looks are two things that can easily coexist. It's some of the actual ignorant men who group them all together and confuse themselves in the process. Now, I've been talking about women this, women that. What about men who monetize off their appearance? Well, one, they're not really the focus of my work, and they have their own set of issues, but it's still a good thing to bring up. The difference between men and women is that women are inherently seen as sexual objects while men are not. When I say men and women, I mean people who are perceived as women and people who are perceived as men. No doubt if you take LGBTQ men and men of color into account, as you should, that changes a little bit. But at the same time, overall, women are purely sexualized constantly. That is just not the case with men, no matter what, although other attributes might cause for sexualization. Men have the privilege to be sexual, whether it's on Twitch or just in general, yet still be seen as regular people, which is sickening and very unfair. Men who monetize off attraction get hate occasionally as well, especially if they're LGBTQ or East Asian, but never the same amount of malice and history goes into it. Again, this ties to several points I've made in other videos like male defaultization, women being seen as extensions, etc. It all connects to the same systems and patterns, and it really sucks being able to recognize all of those patterns. I mean, take a look at media, and I mean all of it. Random fan art, drawings, shows, movies, books, video games. The women always have to be the hot ones if there are any hot characters. When I say hot, I mean conform to today's beauty standards, so skinny, small noses, and more. I used to not mind this as much. Then I realized there's barely ever a point in time where, say, a quote-unquote ugly girl gets with a quote-unquote hot guy. And the stories where the quote-unquote ugly girl gets with the hot guy, she's actually not ugly at all. But Lord, too many times have I seen the quote-unquote hideous men get with literal goddesses when it's seen as so normal. People always hurl insults at couples where the man is hotter. It's like an assumed responsibility for a woman to be pretty. Women are expected to be the perfect pretty pearls, never the men, or at least 99 times out of 100 they are. Relating this back, we have an innate idea that now women are beautiful, sexy creatures and nothing more. If they aren't beautiful, sexy creatures, then they're nothing. That's a big reason why women cannot just stream without people making it about the fact they're a woman. And sexualization is not fun when you don't want it, because a lot of people think that it is. Since people associate sexualization with objectification, if you're perceived as an attractive, monetizing streamer, then you don't do stuff involving that or becoming a political speaking streamer, no one is going to take you or your points nearly as seriously. I mean, let's look at Hassan Abi. I love that guy, though I don't know much about him, but I know he's worked incredibly hard to get his platform and to be seen as such a strong-willed political speaker. But I know for a fact that if he was a woman, he'd probably be nowhere near where he is. He wouldn't have nearly as many fans, or at least the ones that take him seriously. Especially if he was a woman of color. If he was seen as hot, he'd just be constantly sexualized to males' smart woman fantasies. And same with Dream, as I've mentioned in previous videos. This man is sexualized to the brim, but people still have the equal ability to see him as a normal human being with a personality and well-roundedness. That just would never apply to women. Now, personally, I don't think there's much wrong with raw sexualization of content creators as long as they are okay with it, but it can be different when it comes to women. If you're a sexualized woman, people will view you as an object, not just a sexual human being with brains and a thought. That's why famous male content creators, on the contrary to women content creators, are okay with sexualization. As I mentioned before, Dream, George, and Sapnap, because they can be sexualized while still being appreciated and recognized as being smart. On the other hand, if Hassan was seen as an ugly woman, no one would even click the stream in the first place, though he'd still for sure get sexualized, probably be hurled insults constantly for political opinions, and beaten down to a scrub appearance-wise. Maybe even taken less seriously if he was pretty, because as we know, we base women's value based off how they look, while simultaneously infantilizing them for everything. But that's all I really have to say on this particular subject, even though there's so much more to unpack. Point is, women are allowed to monetize off their looks. Don't assume every female Twitch streamer is doing that, and for the love of God, stop treating us as subpar humans. Anytime you go on booba.tv, just remember, sexualization of yourself is not objectification of yourself. Have a good day. Hope you enjoyed the video. Again, name's Tony. Now go hecking subscribe.